host, Jenny Hoff, and this is Person to Person. Joining me today is Mayor Connie Schroeder, the mayor of Bastrop, the first female to be elected to that position, and she was elected in 2017. And we're going to talk today about what you can see in the future of this area. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jenny. We're so glad to host you here in Bastrop.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up? What school did you go to? What did you study?
My father was not in the military, but he might as well have been in the military because he was an electrical engineer and was involved in defense work. So we lived all over the southwestern United States when I was little.
So did you live in Texas too?
Yes, we moved to Texas when I was in fourth grade, I guess. And when they say Houston, we have a problem, it's not Houston, it's Clear Lake City. It's where the NASA, where the spacecraft center is. And that's where I went to high school.
Cool.
And
I was just there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So after I graduated from high school, I came to the University of Texas at Austin and got my degree in civil engineering and was lucky enough to find a job in Austin. So I've been in Austin ever since.
So you stayed in Austin and then you moved to Bastrop.
Yes.
How long ago?
I started dating Bastrop in 1998.
Met your husband.
And I married it in 2003.
All right.
So been here since.
And did you have any idea that you wanted to be in public office, or you were just an engineer at that time, or was it in the back of your mind a little bit?
Never had thought about it.
Really?
Never. So I have... kind of going back a little bit, I loved math.
Yeah.
I loved that there was a right answer, that I could prove that it was a right answer. It didn't matter if you were a boy or a girl or short or tall, there was an answer. So I really, really liked math, and that's the engineering connection. Right. So I graduated with a civil engineering degree. I went to work for a locally owned consulting firm. I was hired by one of my clients, and so I worked for a developer for a while. I then stayed home and had a baby, and went to work for a contractor. Had another baby, and at one point in my career, I was hired by Motorola. And I got a phone call. It was kind of funny. I got a phone call one day. Have you ever thought about working at Motorola? And it was like, no, I don't have an electrical engineering degree. Not sure what I would do for you people. And they said, we're building a 100,000 square foot clean room.
Oh, wow.
It'll be the largest clean room to ever be built in the United States. Would you like to come help with construction management? And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. That sounded great. So I went with the intentions of being there for 2 years during that construction, and I retired 15 years later.
Wow. So you just stayed with them.
Just a fabulous career. Really a great career.
That's amazing. And that was based in
Austin.
In Austin.
So I was the facilities manager at one site. I ended up being the Austin Site Services Director, so I had all the sites in Austin.
So you were used to leadership at that point then?
Got some great experience. Motorola was a fantastic company to give you opportunities to... there's a point in management and when you're leading people that what you're doing isn't as important as the teams working together. So really a great background.
What turned you on to running for public office? Did you ever think that was going to be something that you did?
I had never considered running for public office. Really? I guess the closest I ever came to it, when I graduated with my engineering degree, I almost went to law school and then decided that it was time to make some money. So got married, had 2 kids, and had a great engineering career. But after I retired, my husband was concerned because I'd lived in the same place in Austin for a very long time and knew all the neighbors and had been working full time and did quite a bit of travel with my job. And so I got to Bastrop and he said, oh no, we've got to find you some friends and something to do. So I started volunteering for the YMCA. I also was a volunteer advocate and on the board of the CASA, the court-appointed special advocates. And I got appointed to planning and zoning. And I served on planning and zoning for almost 7 years. And in 2017, the mayor's seat was open. So there wasn't going to be an incumbent. And there was some conversations. Some folks had over the years asked me if I'd ever thought about running for council. And my husband said, you have a great background. Why don't you just run for mayor? And I said, are you sure? And he said, yeah, I think you can do it. So I was... decided in January of 2017, all right, I'm going to go for it.
Wow. So you decided then that you were going to go for it. And then you won.
Yes.
And so how has that transition been for you to becoming mayor?
It's been exciting. People have asked me what I'm the most surprised about. And I guess the thing that surprises me the most is it's 24/7.
Yeah.
you're during this time, you're never not the mayor. And whether people address you as mayor or the ones I love the most are, oh, Connie, it's so good to see you. I don't mean to bother you, but, and then it's,
Can you solve this
can you
problem
solve this problem for me?
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think one of the great advantages of living in a town the size of Bastrop is that you're going to see me at the soccer fields.
Yeah.
I get my own groceries. I'll run into you at the post office,
Yeah.
and it's just so neat. We have such a great community.
That's amazing, actually, when you think about that, because it's your elected officials in a lot of bigger cities. It's so separate. You never even have a conversation with them. And here you are part of the community. They know you.
Absolutely.
They feel free to come up and talk to you. And that's really what your job is, right? To be a public servant and to figure out how to solve the problems of the area. So talk a little bit about how Bastrop has changed since you initially came here, and how's it grown?
So I think we are really on the cusp of the growth that we're going to have.
Okay.
The main things that have changed is we've really invested in our infrastructure. It had been quite a long time since there had been fiscal investment in things like water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant. We've made significant commitment to taking care of our drainage. We're working, one of the initiatives that we have going on right now is building Bastrop. And honestly, for 20 years, we'd done a little cut and paste here and cut and paste there in our land use codes. And things were a mess.
Yeah.
And one of the complaints that I heard, even when I was on planning and zoning, was if we go down and ask a question, the answer depends on the person that we ask the question to.
So nothing was written in stone.
Unfortunately, if you ask 3 people a question, you'd get 3 different answers. But defending staff, each person could tell you which part of the code they were referring to give you that answer. The problem was the codes had so many internal conflicts. So building Bastrop is about streamlining, making our communication clear, and setting expectations for developers so that the community knows what they're going to get. Anybody that's coming to town to do some development knows what the rules are.
And you said you feel like you're on the cusp of where you guys are headed. Where do you see Bastrop headed in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, we are right now, I get asked this all the time, what's the population of Bastrop? And it's a trick question.
Right.
At night, we sleep just under 9,000 people.
In the city proper.
In the city proper. And we're just under 10 square miles. So the reason I talk about at night, because our daytime population, I've seen numbers of 20,000, 30,000, sometimes 40,000.
Wow.
And people are like, that's crazy. But if you consider the fact that Bastrop County has 85,000 people. And if you are in a 30 or 40 mile radius, would you like to come to Bastrop and shop at a fantastic H-E-B, take care of the big box stores, stop by Best Buy, take care of Academy, and then have the ability to go to Main Street and have a great lunch and pick up a gift that's unique that you couldn't get anywhere else? Do you want to do that? Or do you want to spend twice as long driving to Austin looking for a place to park, and you have to move 4 or 5 times to do the exact same errands? So between being the county seat and also with Bastrop Independent School District being one of our largest employers, we have a lot of folks that come into town that are in town during the day that aren't actually a part of the population.
And so you guys have really grown in the sense where you have all of the big stores, you have all of those amenities. Do you see it booming even more? Do you see this kind of a population starting to skyrocket?
Absolutely. There's a lot of folks that want to live here. Quite frankly, we have more than half of the city staff that does not live inside the city limits.
Oh, wow.
And it's because there's a shortage of housing. And it's the darndest thing. People expect to have water and be able to flush the toilet and have a street. So there's some infrastructure that we've got to get in place to be able to grow. And with the investment being made, I know that growth is coming. And we have folks visiting with us all the time that are dying to build houses, and people that would like to live in Bastrop, whether it's purchasing a home or living in an apartment or renting a home. There's just not the housing that people are looking for.
Absolutely. And, one of the questions I was curious about, so you came from Austin, where it's a city that's just been booming, booming, booming for quite a while now. What is it like living in Bastrop? What's the difference? And what do you do here for fun and for entertainment and to get out and about?
That's a great question. One of the things I have to answer the work part first. I don't want to make the mistakes that Austin made.
Okay.
Austin did we are not going to build it. They are not going to come.
And then they came.
And that does not work.
Right.
So in my mind, that is being controlled by the growth. So you either control it or it controls you. I think Austin found themselves in an environment for a very long time. If your car was moving at all, you were going north and south. If you were at a dead standstill, you were trying to go east or west. Now you're at a dead standstill no matter where you're trying
Any
to
direction.
go. So in Bastrop, one of the big changes is the very thing I mentioned earlier. You can go park your car, you can go to the post office, you can stop by a lawyer, you can have lunch, you can buy a birthday present for somebody, and you've never moved your car. And that's not something that you can do in a lot of communities. For fun, it's the ability for me, we talked about it a little bit earlier, I'm a grandmother. When my husband and I got married, I had 2 sons and he had a daughter. She's married and I have 3 perfect grandchildren and they live about a block from where we're sitting.
Oh, wow.
So they're the best part of the day.
Yeah. And it's a safe city to bring the kids out in and go explore the green areas. There's so much greenery around here and beautiful trees and everything like that and a lot of fun little shops. And so do you guys walk downtown and go into the shops? Or?
Oh, absolutely. They live close enough that it is not unusual to walk downtown and have dinner. And sometimes the kids have artwork that's displayed on Main Street. So we go check out the artwork and take their picture and, walk back to their house. And there's a lot of fun things to do. Most people are surprised that we have the Bastrop Opera House. You can go see a play. You can go to the movie. You can walk along Fisherman's Park, along the trail. There's a lot of things to do, and you don't have to go very far.
What would you say is your favorite thing about living in Bastrop?
My favorite thing about living in Bastrop is the wonderful life that I have. My husband, I can't believe I'm going to start crying. My husband was born and raised here. He was raised on Elm Street, 2 blocks. Like if we could see through this wall, we could nearly see the house he was raised in. My daughter and her husband are here. I have 3 grandchildren that are here that are going through the same high school. And it's such an honor to be mayor and be in a position to provide the childhood and the opportunities for my grandkids that my husband had.
That's amazing. I mean, it's to see your emotion, I think, speaks for itself, that you love this community, you believe in this city, you believe in this community, and you want to create a beautiful atmosphere for everybody living here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this touching interview, a lot of insight into Bastrop, and I think that you've really shown us how you're a good steward of this area and that you're going to make sure that it grows in the right way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Person to Person and getting to meet the city leader to see just how exciting Bastrop is to live in and work in. We'll see you next time.